When hostile signatures breach system perimeters, rapid response is everything. The X-13 Incom Starfighter, developed by Lindan Engineering Corporation for the Freestar Navy. Configured for quick reaction deployment and high-speed interception. Its primary role is the lockdown system orbit where 4 threats can mobilize. A radical asymmetric profile integrates a central docking ring with a starboard-mounted cockpit for easy visibility in rapid hangar scrambles and boarding situations. And to prevent overheating, the X-13's S-foils deploy to vent thermal radiation from the overtuned engines and weapon systems. The dorsal-mounted KR-39mm autocannon can target ships automatically or remotely via a dedicated gunner. Twin RF pulse repeaters disrupt shield and component systems, while the kinetic recycling flak cannon overwhelms enemy ships with explosive fire. Utilized as a system defense fighter across Freestar territory, the X-13 is always the first ship to respond in perimeter engagements. The X-13 Incom class Starfighter by Lindan Engineering Corporation.
What is going on, captains, shipwrights, and Starfield fans? In this video, we're actually tackling 2 different Star Wars inspired fighters that you can build pretty quickly. Quick heads up, I didn't feature the second ship in the trailer because it's platform specific and just an update to a previous ship that I've uploaded. But we're going to be building the X-13 first, which is compatible on any platform. And the second ship is an update to my TIE Specter from September. Now this TIE Specter is going to require Antares prototype, which was delisted. So it's strictly for you Xbox and PC players who still have it in your load order. If you missed out on it or you deleted it, Desqell did bring it up in a recent post, so it's possible that it could come back in some sort of fashion. But don't worry, the X-13 is still available for you to build. Now quick disclaimer before we dive into things. This guide does have a heavy focus on Desqell's mods because originally this video was supposed to be a dedicated mod spotlight. I am aware of the situation. If you know, you know. And yeah, I was just as surprised as all of you because I was already halfway done with editing this video when everything became public. So it is what it is. Anyways, I'm going to share some thoughts on it towards the end, but let's get back to the ships. The X-13 Incom Starfighter sits at 22 meters long with a 32 meter wingspan, which makes it the second shortest ship that I've built on this channel. It's just behind the TIE Specter, which is 20 meters long and 16 meters wide. Both of these are single-hab ships, and the TIE Specter is even smaller because it uses the half-hab from Tiger shipyards. And even though the X-13 has a large wingspan, I still consider it a micro build or a tiny build because 22 meters is pretty short for Starfield standards. Due to mod availability, system component selection is going to be different for the PS5 version, but both versions of the ship will cost around 150,000 credits, give or take. That makes the X-13 one of the cheapest builds that you'll see me do, and it's so simple that there's no level or skill requirements other than what's needed for your weapon and reactor selection. Normally, a fighter like this should be a Class A ship, but I went with a Class B setup for the weapon selection that I wanted. The TIE Specter is about 8 times the cost at over 1.2 million credits, but this is mainly due to weapon selection because the ship itself costs less than 40,000. This new version of the TIE Specter is also going to save you over 800,000 credits compared to my first version of the ship. As mentioned earlier, this video was meant to be a Desqell spotlight, and so the X-13 is going to require Renegade Specialized Ship Modules. This is the latest ship part mod on Creations and it replaces Antares prototype, which again is the one that got delisted. It carries over most of the non-structural parts that were in prototype, but unfortunately, it also strips all of the structural parts that were in prototype. And that is a huge bummer. That's also why I said that not all of you are going to be able to build the TIE Specter because it has a heavy focus on prototype. At least with Renegade, you're going to get nice cosmetic updates to the parts that were carried over, and a really cool new cockpit called the Galileo E1. It's a Millennium Falcon style cockpit that's sized for smaller ships, and we're going to be using it for this X-13 build, along with the X4 nacelles, which were also newly added into Renegade. What's cool about these wing nacelles is they articulate depending on your boost speed. I don't know how Desqell does it, but the man continues to deliver with these animated parts, and it's really cool to see in this game. I also used 2 paid mods for the X-13, but both are completely optional. The first one is Antares Supra, which costs 1,000 credits, and I'm only using it for the engines and the Greebling, all of which are interchangeable with other parts. ASC Deimos is the other paid mod, and it costs 400 credits, but I'm only using the single frequency scan jammers, so this X-13 is technically free to build. Every other required mod that you see listed below is also free and available on all platforms. Now, one thing that I want to note is that both of these ships don't land in the traditional sense. When they land, they're both going to float in the air about 2 levels from the ground thanks to special landing bays and parts that add landing thrust, so there's no traditional landing gear for either ship. For the X-13, the lift landing bay tall already has landing thrust, and for the TIE Specter, we're going to be using the 2-level X-Wing landing bay along with landing thrust modules from CHI Ship System Modules. You should be able to source all of the parts for both builds at an Outpost landing pad, but if not, the Renegade parts can be purchased at New Atlantis, while the cockpit for the TIE Specter should be located at the quay. Okay, so both ships are very easy to build, and they shouldn't take you too long to complete. I'll still be providing text and vocal instructions throughout, but always remember, if you have any questions, or if you get stuck anywhere, feel free to reach out to me in the comments. Okay, first things first, we always start with the landing bay. For this build, we're going to be using the Lift Landing Bay Tall. This comes from Mattel's Hams and Cockpits accessories, and you're going to see the short variant first, so you just need to switch it to the tall variant. Now we're going to do our first merging technique of the build, and this merging technique is going to be used throughout the build. It's called Select All plus Shift, and what we're going to do is select all on the fuselage that we've built so far, then shift the fuselage over to the nose B so that it attaches to the front of the 1x1 hab, and it's just going to snap into place. This technique is called Select plus Shift, and like I said, we're going to be doing this throughout the build, so remember this technique. After we attach the cockpit, we're about to use Select plus Shift again to merge the Nova cowling into the Lift Landing Bay Tall. To make the Select plus Shift process easier, attach the parts where they need to go first, and then remove them. Once you do that, the part is leveled with the snapping point that it needs to attach to. So when you use Select plus Shift, everything is kind of in line, and all you have to do is just shift on a flat plane. Now for the components, this is where the only difference is between the PS5 version and the Xbox PC version. PS5 players, you're going to use the micro components from the 8-2 Actus Jedi Starfighter mod. And Xbox PC players, you can either use the 8-2 components, or you can use components from Cross Heavy Industries. For Xbox and PC players, we have the luxury of combining both components, so if you want to create a really overpowered build, then I recommend using the 8-2 reactor, grav drive, and cargo hold, and then use the CHI fuel tank and shield. For this next part, we want to start off by leveling a mini bracer and a TIG cube to the 1x1 hab. Then you're going to add 2 more cubes so that you have a stack of 3, and we're going to merge these 3 cubes into the mini bracer that's behind the 1x1 hab. So you place the cubes nearby, and then we'll use Select plus Shift to move the fuselage over to the cubes, and you just want that forward cube to line up right behind the 1x1 hab. Now if you attach the X-form nacelles to the mini bracer, you are going to get a little bit of corner clipping into the 1x1 hand. If that's something that you're not okay with, then attach the X-form nacelles to the cubes instead of the mini bracer. You probably have to attach it to the middle cube. For me, the interior clipping is very minimal and I cover it up with interior decorations. Now when you add the engines, I am using engines from Antera Supra, and like I said, Antera Supra is optional because engines are interchangeable. So if you don't want to use these engines, or if you don't have Supra, go ahead and use whichever ones you prefer. Alright, if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I know this is a quirky ship, but I love building weird asymmetric ships like this, and you know, I kinda like this format where I build a new ship, but I also update an older related ship. I think I'm going to continue to do this double feature style guide every now and then, but I'll make sure to use mods that are available on all platforms. Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. By now, a lot of you are probably aware of the situation between Crimson Flyboy, Desqell, and their communities. I wanted to address this directly because, like I said before, I had this whole video planned out before all this drama started happening. And I'm already seeing comments on my other videos that are bringing up this issue. Just to be clear, I don't engage in either of their communities. I don't even engage in the Darkstar community. Honestly, I'm busy enough with all of you. But yeah, I rely on Crimson for mod reviews just like everyone else, and he's never struck me as someone who acts in bad faith. At the same time, I think Desqell is genuinely one of the most talented mod authors out there, and he has some of the best ship mods in the game. Now, to be completely fair, I think Crimson made some incredibly valid points in his video. When you become a verified creator and you start charging real money for your work, I think you are immediately held to a higher standard, period. Taking constructive criticism and treating your community with respect is kind of a given. Of course, there are always bad actors, and I don't condone any of that childish behavior or threats going to modders or content creators. Now, if you know me, I am pretty bad with Discord, but I pop into various mod-related servers from time to time to check on updates, and Desqell is always putting up new announcements. And these announcements actually provide a lot of added context to this whole situation. Now, if you're unaware, Desqell mentioned that Bethesda was supposed to push out a Fulcrum update, but a Super one went out instead. Perhaps this was a combination of mistakes by Desqell and Bethesda, but right now, the important thing to know is that the Supra update was not supposed to get pushed out yet. I can see that Desqell continued to update on the situation, but he also mentioned that he's going to start ignoring reports related to this issue because it has already been addressed. People naturally didn't see that announcement and continued to report the same issues, so it looks like that's when he started doing the temporary kicks. Now, do I think kicking paying customers is a good solution to filter out bug reports? Absolutely not, because obviously this can be read the wrong way, and that's exactly what happened. But it's pretty clear to me that this was done because the dude is a one-man show and he's getting overwhelmed here. The second thing that I want to clear up is the part removal situation, because I myself had to correct some people on this too. So prior to Renegade Specialized Ship modules, Desqell had one free mod and two paid mods. When his first paid mod got updated from Supplemental 1 to Antares Fulcrum, one of the parts did get removed, but he also added like 2 or 3 new parts, and all the parts received thorough cosmetic and animated updates. People can agree to disagree on whether the new designs were better, but the new cosmetics like the textures or the blue engine thrust or the animations, those were total upgrades from before. So any talk of part removal issues from his paid mods is just not entirely true, because Fulcrum received a legitimate content update. I want to be clear, this was not a situation where a mod author is screwing paying customers. It's just not the case. Now, if you want to talk about removing parts, then that didn't happen until just recently when his free mod Antares Prototype was taken offline and replaced with Renegade. Prototype had a bunch of cool Star Wars inspired structural parts, as well as a cockpit and some engines. Renegade brought cosmetic updates to any of those parts that were carried over, but it completely stripped all of the structural parts that were in Prototype. And yeah, a couple of these parts found their way into his other paid mod, Antares Supra. I don't blame anyone for getting upset at this, but I do want to be clear that these mass part removals were on his free mod, not a paid one. He brought up this Prototype issue in a recent announcement, and if I'm reading this correctly, it looks like he plans to bring it back, so that's really good news. Look, at the end of the day, this kind of drama is just not good for the community. The way I see it, it's not my problem, and it shouldn't be your problem either. This might sound selfish, but I'm not gonna let other people's drama affect how I play this single-player game. I am a shipbuilder, dude. If there's a good ship mod out there, I'm gonna want to use it. So my advice for those of you who feel conflicted in any way, just play this game how you want to play it. This is clearly a situation where both parties need to hash it out on their own terms, and it's just not our problem. Unless you take the time to find the full context on both sides, you probably don't care enough to have a situation like this determine how you play this game anyways. agree to disagree with me here, but business is business, and I care far more about the content of a mod than a mod author's behavior. It's totally fair if that doesn't work for you, but if your concern is whether or not you're going to get financially screwed by Desqell, I mean, I am not a mod reviewer like Crimson, but I know a good ship mod when I see them, and Desqell's products speak for themselves. Alright, that is that. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Okay, let's see. So, what's next? I kind of have an urge to build a No Man's Sky Corvette again, so one of my next 2 videos will be a No Man's Sky build guide. I also have this really cool concept that I'm working on for a Starfield build, and it's going to be another double feature kind of guide, but the ships will be complementary. Honestly, I can't wait to show this to you, so I might just finish this first, and then do the No Man's Sky Corvette after. But that's what I have planned next for the immediate pipeline. Also, I don't want to get your hopes up or anything, but I have been spending time in the creation kit. I have about 10 or 11 hours or so, and yeah, I've been following Jay Ramos's tutorials, and I was able to get the crate of items into Sidonia. Honestly, that was really cool to see. I'm on part 2 right now, so I'm working on getting that little 2x1 structure going. Both of these took over 10 hours though. So if that doesn't tell you how bad I am with this kind of stuff, oh man, this is gonna be a mission. But yeah, I am working on getting myself educated so I can get you guys some ship packs. Okay, that's it for now. This video was supposed to be 2 ships in 20 minutes, and we've gone way past that. So if you're still here, thank you for tuning in, and as always, feel free to reach out to me in the comments if you have any questions or build requests, or if you just want to chat all things Starfield and No Man's Sky ship building. This is Lindan, signing off. See you in the Starfield.